There is some super exciting stuff coming to DMZ on Wednesday. I know there was a blog post last week and I made a video last week talking about some of the things that they'd announced ready for DMZ, but there's more. There's some stuff that they've just posted about in a blog right now, and it's really cool. It's going to change the way you play DMZ. It's going to change the way you do missions. It's going to change the way you get out of the zone. It's just awesome. So in this video, I'm going to go through all of the changes they've detailed in a blog, step by step, just tell you everything that's coming to DMZ on Wednesday, and make sure you watch to the end, because the last couple of things just like blew my mind. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started. The BART stations. I talked about these in a previous video. These are basically buy station menus, but there's a bit more specific information here where it says, in that menu, you're going to use recipes, and these are going to give instructions to your operator, including a component list in order to build new equipment that can be more useful to your current situation. In other words, bartering is where you exchange items for others. At the start of Season 3, some bartering recipes will be available for each of the new, most of the new plate carriers and backpacks that are detailed later on in this video, kill streaks, self-revive kits, and keys. So you're actually going to be able to make keys, which is kind of interesting. However, each exclusion zone has its own set of barter options across its buy stations, adding one more additional element to fully exploring everything in DMZ. So I'm kind of curious to see, like, is every buy station within our master going to be the same? Or is it going to be like, oh, I need to go down to the airport buy station to do this, or I need to go up to the city to do this? There are dozens of item trade combinations that will launch with Season 3, meaning anyone can memorize these recipes, share them with squad mates, and search for specific items to load up on loot. So it sounds like they're going to be kind of the same between games. Giving these recipes range from operator items like bomb drones and self-revive kits to other important keys and items, the barter system is ready to help operators stock up on those harder to find items and reward them for their scavenging efforts. So that sounds like it's going to be really, really cool. When it says other important keys and items, I'm really hoping it means we'll be able to somehow like barter for a GPU or barter for a blowtorch, like those kind of difficult things to find that you need for missions. Would be really cool if they let you do that. Then we've got the workbenches, the contraband workbench. Again, we've already heard a little bit about this in my previous video. We talked about this, but there's a bit more information here. So it says these are going to be found near them, but not at the buy stations. There'll be another station nearby where for a nominal cash fee, you can add attachments that you've unlocked for any weapon platform onto a piece of contraband or insured weapon. You can also remove them piece by piece. The workbenches provide this attachment swapping service for a price, but given how much a weapon's strengths and weaknesses can change based on the attachments it has or what is removed. The obvious example is to attach what you believe is the most advantageous attachments on contraband weapons, as most of the time it won't have the things. So you could think about suppressors, which are great for stealth situations, or thermal optics if you want to be able to see through smoke. Those things are pretty useful. Like, I quite like using some of the thermal optics in DMZ, just because the number of times bots drop a load of smoke when they spawn in. Super handy. And it says there, however, any DMZ operator knows that the Vaznev with a high magnification scope or the RPK with 30-round magazine may not be the most ideal attachment combinations, so you could take those off as well, which is pretty cool. Then you've got the active duty slots, which again, we've heard about before, where you're going to be able to have different slots with different characters, and that'll sort of save some of the information. So it says there, at the start of Season 3, every player will have 3 active duty operator slots, which equates to 3 separate operators that have their own on-soldier items. So that's your backpack, your plate carrier, your kill streaks, your self-revive, and your gas mask. You can swap who the operators are, so you can change the operator skins and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And you're not going to lose the slot by changing the operator for it. Before launching into a match, you choose which operator you're bringing into the exclusion zone. Whatever they bring back that's not part of the global loadout, so primary weapon, secondary weapon, lethal, tactical, and field upgrade, is only for that active duty operator. So that means contraband weapons are shared, but keys are not. So that's kind of interesting. If you pick up a key on one of your operators, say you've got your first character and you've got them all loaded up and you've got them like with a full plate vest, a large backpack, a UAV ready to go, you've got a durable gas mask, you've got a self-revive, they are all sorted, they've got all the perks, 10 exfil streak, all of that stuff is on your first character. Then you're playing with a friend and you just hop on the second operator because you don't care if you lose anything on them, but then you find a key you really need. You can't then use that key on your first operator. You can't go back to your first operator and just use that key. That sounds super strange. So yeah, just to get that straight, contraband weapons are shared between active duty operators, but not keys. So then that key is stuck on that operator. So you've got a different key inventory for each operator. That's really bizarre to me. That sounds really strange. But, you know, that's how they're doing it, so fair enough. As we suggested in our announcement blog, active duty operator slots allow for strategies around designated operators for specific missions or supply runs. Another way to think about it is that active duty operators are like lives in DMZ. But again, remember the core part of taking risks, part of DMZ, each operator life is separate and can easily go back to bare bones. In other words, using just one main operator like in DMZ prior to the update may limit you to strategies like building up every operator to full strength on scavenging runs, then using them all to knock out a difficult mission or secure a weapons case. Fair enough. This idea of having separate key inventories for each one, that sounds super weird to me. That's something we didn't know before. I hadn't heard that before, but that's interesting. But there's more, and now we're getting on to brand new stuff that I didn't talk about in my previous video. We hadn't spoken about this before, but there's some exciting stuff in here. I already got a little sneak peek with the critical, and this stuff is cool. So, new equipment, new plate carriers, backpacks, and a rebreather. So what will those active duty operators bring back from exclusion zones? In addition to the abundance of existing on-soldier items, there's a few new items that are coming in at launch and during the season. So we've got new backpacks. These are brand new backpacks, not just medium or large backpacks, but they actually have functionality. So the secure and the scavenger one. Secure backpacks, as the name suggests, I assume that it's this blue one, secure items between runs. This means that non-contraband, non-on-soldier items are secured in your inventory and don't convert to XP upon extraction. Plus, items in a secure backpack are kept to that active duty soldier if they're eliminated in an extraction zone. So that means, say you're doing the one where you need to search for like blow torches, or you're doing something where you need to search for GPUs. If you're wearing that backpack, if you find one of those items, but then you get killed before you extract or drop it off, whatever the mission requires, when you load back in, you will still have that item in your inventory. So then you can go straight to the drop-off or go straight to an extraction point to complete the mission. So that's pretty amazing. It says, most likely one of the biggest game changers in DMZ alongside active duty operator slots, as this can help with supply runs and mission objectives. And both of them come from the same idea of persistence. In DMZ, you need to continue doing missions and tasks despite getting knocked down sometimes. For the secure backpack, even if you lose one important mission item, it will still be there with a secure backpack, and remember there is a barter recipe for it too. As for the scavenger backpacks, these take out the third weapon slot, usually found in medium and large backpacks, and add additional item slots. So the scavenger backpack is basically bigger than a large backpack. It has more slots available that would probably be pretty good for those missions where you need to get lots of money out and stuff like that, but you don't have the third weapon. So if you're someone that doesn't run a third weapon anyway, then that might be useful to you. But that secure one seems super interesting. This seems like it'll be a super interesting thing where even if you die, you get to keep the stuff that you had in your backpack. Super useful. I do wonder if, you know, when it says like in a mission, oh, you have to extract with an item, will it count if you have a secure backpack, then you die? Will that count as extracting? I'm not really sure. That's going to be interesting. But there is a barter recipe for this backpack, so you'll be able to make it. You'll be able to like get it from a buy station, which is really cool. Also, you've got new plate carriers. So rather than just having medium and large plate carriers, you know, the 2 and 3 plate carriers, you've now got 4 new versions of the plate carrier coming to DMZ. So kind of cool that we're getting all these new items. So you may already be familiar with tempered plate carriers from previous Call of Duty Warzone. For anyone who doesn't know, that means you only need 2 plates to get to full. It still has the same amount of damage protection, but you only need to put 2 armor plates in it to fill it up. Which makes it much quicker to get back into a fight and means you use a lot less plates, obviously. But it says there, we talked about them, so here's a quick overview of the other ones. A 3-plate medic vest, this is the one with the red line on it, grants faster revives on squad mates as well as faster self-revives when using a self-revive kit. All round helpful, but especially great for those who find themselves as a squad's medic. So that's really cool if you whack that on. I wonder if it will actually show you as having a medic one on. But it means you'll be able to revive people faster. That's super cool. 3-plate comms vest. I assume it's this one, maybe? Or this, I don't know which one. Maybe this one, because that one doesn't look very stealthy. It's like a signal booster and has a few benefits. It increases the duration of all UAV technology, the kill streak, the UAV, and enemy radios dropped by AI, and makes them function as advanced UAVs, meaning they show player direction and location. That's pretty huge. So if you have this vest, if you have the comms vest, you're going to be able to hit a UAV tower and then essentially get an advanced UAV just from a UAV tower. That's pretty cool. As another bonus, the vest also gives you an audio cue when an enemy operator is close to you, like an auditory version of High Alert. Could be great for a solo runner especially, given that they could level the communications advantage that having a duo or trio provides. So on a creator call, I think they talked about the idea that it's like, if an enemy player is near you, like in the area that you're in, you're going to get a voice line telling you like, hey, there's enemy operators nearby, something like that. Which I'm not sure how useful that'll be. It'll be kind of cool, but it'd be good if like you went somewhere, like you go to Satik Caves and then it's like, hey, enemy operators are nearby. It'd be similar to like when you see on the map that they've activated a SAM site or they've activated a stronghold nearby. So it'll be that kind of level of information where it's like, okay, we need to be a bit careful because there are players nearby. And if you don't get any voice lines, similarly, that'll be useful where it's like, okay, we're safe here, there's just bots here, we can keep on fighting. Finally, the stealth plate carrier comes with built-in ghost, keeping you off enemy radars. So that sounds pretty cool too. It's interesting, the other two says that they're free plate, and that one doesn't say it's free plate, but I imagine it probably would be. It does say also be on the lookout for armor satchels coming back during the season. So we're going to get armor satchels, which, you know, if you remember from Warzone 1, you can carry 8 plates instead of 3, which is a bit weird because in DMZ, obviously, you put all your plates in a backpack. Even in Warzone 2, you put all your plates in a backpack. So I'm not sure how much that matters. But anyway, we also get the Rebreather field upgrade. I wouldn't be surprised if the new Redacted faction has some missions where you have to go to those boats that are super far underwater in Al Mazrah. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, so we've got a Rebreather upgrade coming. This is something that you can pick up. There's a brand new field upgrade, so it's going to take the place of munitions and self-res, not self-res, the revive pistol, that sort of stuff. So as you may recall seeing in a raid episode, the Rebreather is built for amphibious operators who navigate around various waterways in Al Mazrah and Ashika Island. This tool allows operators to breathe underwater for longer periods of time, perfect for stealth infiltrations or tricky maneuvers where air is limited. Like a stim pistol, it has multiple uses before it expires and can even be swung as a two-handed melee weapon in a pinch. You can actually hit someone with it. That's pretty cool. So when it says it has multiple uses, I assume it's like how it works in the raid, where it doesn't just let you breathe forever, but when you're running out of air, you can activate it and it will like fill up your oxygen again, and then you can keep going for a bit longer. And I'm guessing it will have like 2 or 3 uses before it runs out. But it does mean we'll be able to explore some of those shipwrecks that we couldn't really explore before, so that's pretty cool. Could also mean on something like Ashika Island, you could get to like the bunker underneath the waterways without fighting anyone, because you could just go all of the way underwater probably. So that'd be cool. I wonder if you can like drop it and stuff like that, like you can in the raid where you can pass it between your team. That would be pretty cool. Now, this is something I'm glad they've talked about. I've wanted to talk about this since they mentioned it at the creator call. This is going to be huge. Like this, I think this is going to be the biggest game changer for DMZ. A skeleton key. So, those familiar with the phrase know what a skeleton key can unlock nearly any door in DMZ. The only exception is getting the Building 21 access key. Although you cannot earn a Building 21 deployment, you can open every door that requires a key card or key in Building 21 or the other exclusion zones. These keys can only be created through the special barter system recipe because every item can matter in DMZ and bartering means losing items to make others. It may be the best to save it for those incredibly tough to find keys or use it as a backup for those missions that require a specific key. This is going to be massive. The idea that you can create a key that you can use to open any door in Al Mazrah on Ashika Island, that's huge. Like, there's so many missions that revolve around finding a specific key in the game. Now you're just going to be like, okay, find a skeleton key or make a skeleton key, essentially. It'll be interesting to see what the recipe's for, how hard's it going to be to make, but that's going to be pretty amazing where it's like, rather than having to search for stupid keys, you're just going to be able to make a skeleton key and use that to do the mission. Obviously, if you do find keys, that's going to be useful. It's going to, you know, speed things up a little bit. I imagine these will be very expensive and quite hard to make, but it just completely eliminates that RNG that can be a barrier to some people for missions. You know, I'm very fortunate that when I'm streaming DMZ, generally someone in chat will have the key I need and they can hop into our game and give us one. Not going to need to do that anymore. Now we're just going to be able to use skeleton key. That is massive for people who want to progress through the missions. That is like unbelievably cool. So, what to expect with the new mission? Says Season 3 of DMZ will not reset your mission progress. Furthermore, there's a new Redacted faction available to all players, with 3 mission tiers available at launch and 2 more at mid-season. It also says, remember that missions are not the only thing to accomplish in DMZ. There's new bosses, as well as something completely redacted happening mid-season, are sure to give even more challenges and rewards to all operators. So there's something else happening mid-season, some secret thing. I don't know what that is. That isn't something they told us about. So something redacted happening mid-season. There's going to be something else to do. So that sounds cool. There's also a supply run contract. Most operators who play Battle Royale know about supply runs, but now they're coming to DMZ. Supply run's a great contract for gearing up when your active duty operator's brand new. It's like a low-stakes safe cracker. Instead of iron safes, all your operator needs to do is find wooden crates, and all the items there are free for the taking. So like a quick way of doing a regain. I imagine people will probably fight over them because lots of people are always doing regains in DMZ, but it'll be interesting. We've also got something new for the DMZ. The heavy chopper is back, and there's a new way to privately exfil an exclusion zone in DMZ Season 3, both of which can help you exfiltrate safely. I didn't know anything about this. This is kind of cool. So the heavy chopper seen in Ground War and Invasion in Modern Warfare 2 will add to the aerial vehicle lineup. Unfortunately, it's completely drained of fuel, so when you see it on a map, you won't be able to get to it. So operators must find its special fuel around the airport in order to get it into the sky. If you top it off with fuel, the heavy chopper can fly around the map and even outside the boundaries, which will let you exfiltrate at any time for free. After getting out of bounds, a countdown will appear just like a normal exfiltration until you ultimately are given the same treatment as a successful exfil. The other new feature here is a new buy station known as Private Exfil. Once bought, an exfil will be available on an unused exfil point for that match on the map. Consider it an extra escape route if needed, especially during prisoner rescue contracts. That's pretty cool. So you can now buy an exfil, which will just, one of the unused exfil points will then activate just for you and everyone else won't be able to see it. That's super cool. That could be really useful. And the heavy chopper lets you just, if you fuel it up, so it'll be like a little quest to go around the airport, fuel the thing up, you can just fly it off the map. So you could do that at the beginning of the game, go get the heavy chopper, fuel it up, then fly it around. I wonder if you'll then, after you've got it in the air, be able to keep on fueling it up. That'll be interesting. But if you can, you could then use that to complete a few missions, and then when you're done, as soon as you're done, just leave. So, for example, a strategy that would seem like a good idea is get the heavy chopper, get the weapon case, leave. Like, just leave with it, with the weapon case on the heavy chopper as soon as you've killed the jug. Just go with it. That seems like that would be a cool way to do it. Definitely, that sounds like something fun. It sounds like it's going to change the game up quite a lot. I imagine there's going to be lots of people taking javelins now into DMZ to take people out who have gone to all of that effort of loading up the wonderful heavy chopper. They're going to get absolutely destroyed by it. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. That sounds super fun. And then it just talks a little bit there about buying Modern Warfare 2. So, hopefully that's got you excited. I'm really interested in this. There's a lot of stuff in there that I didn't know about. The skeleton key we were told about at the Creator Call, and I was really excited about that. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to trying out DMZ at the beginning of Season 3. Season 3 is launching on Wednesday, the 12th of April. It'll be the afternoon in the UK, as I know it's like 5 p.m. UK time, I think. As soon as it launches, as always, I'll be playing it. I'll be there streaming over on youtube.com/Geeky Pastimes. So make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on, all of that good stuff. And I'll see you then. Goodbye.